Welcome to AFL Uncensored. I am your host, Tej Johannesson, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Omari Fraser. And as always, we are brought to you by Warwick Grain Carriers. That is a company owned by Danny Warwick, a longtime member of the AFL. He has graciously sponsored our podcast so we can keep bringing you these episodes. So thank you so much to Danny Warwick and Warwick Grain Carriers, and also to Travis Levitsky, who kindly has donated some money to the podcast to keep it going as well, as a fan of it. Travis is a longtime player in the league as well. So thank you, Danny, Warwick Grain Carriers, and thank you, Travis, as well. Omari, so we are doing, I wanted to do this episode a little bit earlier in the week, but the stats kind of took a little bit while to come out. And I do want to do these weekly episodes during the season when we do have the stats for the week, because I think that matters. And I think that helps us get a good podcast and gives us time to watch the film as well. So, Omari, I know you weren't playing, but I'm sure you got down to watching some film, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. With that, got a chance to watch. I guess last weekend I was like AFL tech support with the live stream and everything, which we'll get into later. But I was definitely looking forward to the all the film coming out, and man, it was juicy to see everyone play, and kind of jealous, but I knew like, hey, my time will come. But looking forward to that this week. But overall, I think it was a really good week of football, and a lot of high level football, which is very exciting to see across the league, across the board.
Yeah, and I knew that obviously there was only these two games, Bucks versus Irish and Grand Prairie versus Cold Lake, and we're going to kind of dissect those games based on the film we've seen and the results. And I think I know, playing in our game, Bucks versus Irish, it was a close battle the entire game. It was basically back and forth. They scored, we scored, they scored, we scored, we scored, they scored. There were some missed special teams opportunities by both teams, and it ended up being a close game. And then I kind of saw the Cowboys and Jets score, and I was like, 36-1 or whatever it was, 31-1 or something like that. And I was like, wow, it's pretty much a blowout. That'll be interesting. I was kind of expecting more from the Cowboys. But then I watched the film, and I want to start with this game before we move into the Bucks and Irish. But obviously, I think the Jets were favored by a lot. And I think everyone that's kind of been on this podcast, yourself included, Omari and Sinjin earlier, we kind of had decently high hopes for Grand Prairie based on what they did last year, based on the community they have there, based on the field they have there, and everything that they're building. And so when I first saw the score, probably like yourself, I was a little bit shocked. But when I watched the film, and obviously don't disagree with me for the sake of agreeing with me, Amari, but my personal opinion was that game was way closer than the score. And I know a lot of people say that, but just as an outside perspective, I didn't think besides the fact that Grand Prairie just couldn't put the ball in the end zone, I didn't think that Grand Prairie looked out of place. In fact, I think for a lot of the game, they played with Cold Lake. I'm watching this film, and that Grand Prairie defense was balling out. I mean, they had 3 interceptions. The Cold Lake quarterback, I believe he was their high school kid, and you could see that he's in those kind of first game jitters. He struggled a lot, and that's kind of to be expected joining this league. It's not an easy league, and Grand Prairie took advantage of that. It's unfortunate they couldn't score. Their offense, has a way to go, but even against that vaunted Cold Lake defense, like there was one receiver on Grand Prairie that put up, I think, 94 yards on 8 catches. I'm just looking at the stats now. Tyson M from Grand Prairie, 8 catches, 94 yards. Like 8 catches, 94 yards against that defense is very good. And I just thought overall that was way closer than the score. What do you think about it?
I definitely, for that game, I was watching it through the live stream for a bit, and what I was hearing a lot is like people in the crowds were very impressed with the product they were seeing, because it's just a growth from last year. And as well, just looking at the film, they, as we all know what Cold Lake brings, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing them this weekend. Just from the film from last week, Grand Prairie or Peace Country did a great job competing, battling through adversity, all those things that you want to see. That's just something that I guess we were all saying, and it was good to see. And I was very, very, very impressed with them. And man, it just brings a whole other level to our league now. Because I know in the past people always thought, Peace Country is always like, we'll get a win there. And now you're like, hey, it's a battle. Like, you don't know if you're going to go in with a win there. It's going to be, hey, we have to go and bring everything we got. You can't really say, hey, guys that don't want to dress, cool, let them sit. But now it's like, hey, we're going to need everybody, because this team They come ready. Like I think there's a shot here where I'm like, I count the guys as 12 guys on the field. I count just shy of over 35 guys on a home roster. Like that's sick. And a big difference for them, I think, is going to be how well they can travel. If they can travel well, yeah, this is an open board for everybody. Like flat, a very, very, very equal playing field for everybody. So great job, Cowboys. I'm looking forward to playing you guys here twice because with the schedule change and seeing where the games go from there.
Yeah, and we'll find out their travel numbers this week as they head to Airdrie this week, which is a game I'm really curious about. If Grand Prairie, and we'll talk about that when we do our predictions, but if Grand Prairie travels well, I think that game's going to be close. What's interesting to me is, and I think in everybody's preseason rankings, we had Grand Prairie ranked 6th and the Jets ranked 1. Well, if that was the 1 versus 6 game, which I still think it probably is, and that's not a knock against Grand Prairie. I just think the league is very equal this year and very good. And so I think that probably still is the 1-6 matchup as we speak today. But I think that just is really good for our league because I really think that was a much closer game than possible. This isn't going to be a year where teams are rolling into places and winning 100-0. Back in the day when Airdrie was traveling to Fort Mac and then getting smashed 100-0. Like that's not what this year is about. So Grand Prairie, I mean, I'm looking at their stats now. The quarterback Trace through 32 attempts, which is a lot of attempts, by the way, for Grand Prairie, and 50% completion, 16 completions, 149 yards. So not a ton of yards, but, efficient as far as, first game of the season against a really good defense. No touchdowns, no picks. Fighter Jets quarterback was 9 of 21. So he struggled, only threw the ball 21 times. But I think you expect him to kind of struggle in that situation. The Cold Lake receivers are legit. Like I was just watching them run routes. Cole Bridges looks fast as fuck right now. He looks smooth. He is going to be, if that quarterback can start, getting his throws and not panicking so much in the pocket. I mean, Cole's basically open all the time. And unfortunately, Cole only had 2 catches. I think Cole needs to be fed the ball a lot, but they do actually have some other good receivers. They had this number 83 wide receiver. I'll grab his name here in a second to be respectful. Everett Jackson, 2 catches, 50 yards. Not a lot of catches, but 25 per catch. And Cole was 2 for 52, but was basically open all the time. If you watch the film, it's just I think the Cold Lake O-line struggled a little bit, but Grand Prairie's D-line and rush was good, and the quarterback just really struggled. So I think overall, like, really cool game. I think for Grand Prairie to keep their heads up and for Cold Lake to maybe realize, hey, this isn't going to be a walk in the park, right? That was 1v6. So once you get to 1v2, which we'll talk about where our rankings are at each personally at the end of the podcast, but it's going to be a lot closer. So Cold Lake's got to keep putting that work in. They got to work with that quarterback. I have no doubt that Teague and Gabe and Glenn and the group in Cold Lake will get that under wraps. Their running game looked really good. Their defense did look really good. So they'll get that under wraps and they'll get that guy coached up. But there's some vulnerability there.
Yeah, and that's one thing now where I won't say the vulnerabilities that we're seeing just because we play them here next, but we definitely saw some opportunities that we could look at and just looking at from last year, this year, and saying, hey, we can exploit this and target this and approach in these different ways. We feel as Wolfpack very confident going into that game, saying, hey, like we can compete. They're a very very competitive team, and not like I don't want to disrespect anyone there, but it's like I've definitely built the team up. Say, hey, we're going to go in and compete, and I guess we're going to go through adversity. But we should not be going in this game thinking we're going to get beaten. Like if anything, we're going to go in, we're going to compete, and at the end of it, we'll see who comes at the top. But it's definitely something where they got players, and I think you mentioned it before. As I think maybe in the beginning of the year, it was more like, Cold Lake's going to walk through everybody. It's not going to be a cakewalk, which I'm sure they can appreciate. And as well, it opens the door for us all here to compete.
Yeah, and there's no way that the competitors that Cold Lake has, there's no way they want it to be a cakewalk. Like this is a year where the Alberta League has to go into Ontario and try to do something that hasn't been done in a very long time, which is win a national championship in Ontario. So Cold Lake wants to be challenged. I know like Cold Lake is definitely not satisfied with that result because I know the ballers they have there and I know the attitudes they have. They're going to just get more scary and better every single game. But it's just, we're just, saying what it is. They would probably be the first to admit that they showed some vulnerabilities compared to last year. Obviously losing Rayshon, like Rayshon's a rock back there, right? And Rayshon's going to control everything, even when things aren't going well. You're going to look and see Rayshon in the huddle, and you're going to feel good about yourselves, right? Obviously, this high school quarterback, he doesn't have it, and not that it's a him thing. It's just an experience thing, right? Guys aren't looking at him the same way they look at Rayshon. It's just that is earned. That stuff is earned, and one day I hope he will earn it. Excuse me. I've got the Bucks Irish game. It was obviously I played in the game, and one of my favorite games I've played in my AFL career. One, I caught 2 touchdown passes from a kid that I've coached since he was 13 years old. So that was really special for me. And 2, I loved the battle of my football team. And I know going into that game, the Irish were really talking about blowing us out and coming in as a cakewalk. I know you heard some stuff from the Irish guys that that it was going to be a walk in the park. And I think if anything, what we did last weekend on the Bucks was we showed the league that we are here to stay. We are here to compete. We are here to make everyone in this league better. You're not going to come into Red Deer or we're not going to come up to you and you're just going to walk all over us. We're going to battle. I believe we have the best quarterback in the league in Brett Bylsma. I believe he can be the best quarterback in the league. And that goes a long way. Now, I think Mitchell Phillips with Edmonton is going to be the next guy and possibly could be the best in the league. Mitchell Phillips is a game breaker for Edmonton, and he is going to be the Edmonton. Spoiler alert: Edmonton's going to move up to my number 2 ranking, even though they haven't played yet, just because of the signings that I'm seeing and Mitchell Phillips being the quarterback and having played Airdrie last week. So, but yeah, no, it was such a fun game to be a part of. It was so good for me personally to be back. Wearing a Bucks uniform. Obviously, I had a great time with the Pack last year, but my heart is a Buck. It always will be a Buck, and it was good to be back and putting on my number. I didn't have to ask you, Amari, to pay for number 5. I could put my number back on again and put that jersey back on and get out there in front of my wife and the fans in Red Deer and had a good game. And our team had a really good game, and we battled and the running backs we have really showed up. Tony Morelli and John Roach, 2 big backs, really came out and powered their way through. Tony is a rugby guy, played football in high school, but only rugby. Kind of our little secret weapon we were kind of keeping under wraps, but he's an absolute tank. And I can tell you the Airdrie linebackers and linemen will echo that statement as well. He had a lot of yards just like forcing his will upon people. Brett had a great game. Ruben was open a lot. Ruben Breitenbach. Xavier had a great game again. And, we really spread the ball around. You could see on film, we spread the ball around. Xavier had 8 catches. I had 5. Ruben had a couple. And the targets were pretty similar. We ran the ball about 45% of the time. So really happy with the Bucks. What do you think watching the game?
The spice rack came to play.
The spice, yes, it did. A lot of people won't get that, but that's okay. If you don't know, you can ask. But yeah,
I definitely agree with what you were saying, where you guys are a very balanced approach. That's one thing I noticed with you guys, with the Bucks, compared to Irish being very run heavy.
Yeah.
Not saying that's anything bad, just how teams' methods and how they got things done. That was one thing I noticed with you guys, and like spreading the ball around, and you, Xavier, who else here?
Ruben, Breitenbach.
Yeah, everyone contributed, which I feel is like it's so nice to have, because then you go into that locker room at the end of the game and like, hey, like we all did our part, did our pieces. So you had a really big game. And next week it could be someone else, and like that way of doing it together, really helps build team spirits up, which I think is huge, especially for some of the young guys on the team, and like they got to see like, wow, I can compete in this league. Like, what would you say? Here's a question for you. I got, with the Bucks and everything, you being one of the leaders there, who do you feel as a new player really got the chance to like check off on their list, like, hey, I could compete in the AFL?
I think it's our quarterback. I think, Brett, like I said, I've coached him since he was in Bantam throughout high school. He actually played safety for me in his grade tenure. I'm the defensive coordinator at Sylvan Lake. And he just, last year it was kind of a rude awakening for him to come to this league. He lost his grade 11 year due to COVID. And then he's coming here playing against men with, only having 12 guys at practice, not really having any super legit like multiple threats. They had Ruben last year, but he was also in his first year, and Merkley ended up getting hurt, and the O-line wasn't super great. And so he was pretty shell shocked last year. He didn't even want to play quarterback this year, right? Because we were supposed to have Brandon back. He was going to be a receiver, and he's actually a very good receiver too. He basically could do everything, but he got put him back into the quarterback position. And actually, it was funny because before the game, I was a little bit late getting out. Getting out to the field for the captain's meeting, because as you know, Amari, I have my entire backpack full of pharmaceutical products that are actually not pharmaceutical products, they're all natural, but my little pharmacy. So I take a while to kind of get out to the field, and he was kind of waiting behind with me, and was just like, Tej, I'm so nervous. I'm like, hey man, that you should feel. I'm nervous. This is my 22nd year of football, and I'm nervous. And I said, but as soon as you get that first snap, that first throw, that first completion, you're going to feel right into it. And you know what? We had set up a play call on the first play of the game. I gave him 2 reads on it, and I said, if the safety goes here, throw here. If the safety goes there, throw there. And first play of the game, he threw like a 30-yard pass to Ruben, making the perfect read, exactly what we talked about. And from there, he went on to have a hell of a game, and he just trusted himself. He trusted his ability. Just like everyone on our team, he made some mistakes. I mean, I made multiple mistakes in that game. But he'll learn from that. And his stats, 16 for 28. So, 28 throws, 16 completions. That's 57% completion rate, which is really quite excellent for the first game of the season. By far, the highest completion rate, but with anyone over 13 attempts. Josh had a higher completion rate, but he only threw the ball 12 times. And most of those were little throws. And then, he threw for 250 yards, which was 100 more than the next guy. So he's currently leading the league in passing by 100 yards. He threw 2 TDs. He threw a pick, which was a really good play by the corner on Airdrie. Airdrie had some really good DBs. That's what I'll say. They did have some good speed, some good DBs, even though we did throw the ball quite a bit. Their weak side corner was pretty good. He made a good interception. I'm forgetting his name. Sorry, guys, but he was a good player.
Number 32?
Yeah, skinny kid that with the belly shirt. Yeah, he's kind of
he had it rolled up. I think I saw that. I saw it on one of the plays that Kurt Howland.
Yeah. So I think it was Brett. I think Brett realized that, hey, I can play at this level and I can trust myself. And the thing with Brett is you're just going to see him get better every game. It's just the way he is. Like I said, I've known him since he was 13 years old. I've seen how he works. He's going to get better every game. This is his floor, 57% passing, 250 yards, 2 TDs. This is his floor. We're not saying every game is going to be like that. Like Cold Lake's going to be tough, but this is the thing he can do. It's not like Airdrie's defense is good. They are going to be a good defense in this league. But Brett did a really good job, and he was supplemented by a really good running game. We ran the ball for 124 yards using our 2 running backs, and we threw the ball for 250, over 300 yards of offense. So really balanced, and I was really, really quite happy with the effort. Just to quickly finish with the stats on this game, because we'll try to give everyone always the stats. There for the Bucks receiving, myself led the way with 5 catches, 107 yards, 2 touchdowns. Xavier Lawrence, 8 catches, 79 yards. Ruben Breitenbach, 2 for 60. For the Irish, they only threw the ball 12 times. Josh was 8 for 12 for 115 and a touchdown. His receivers, Josh ran for a couple touchdowns as well. That's Josh's biggest strength. He ran the ball really well for them. Their whole team basically ran the ball really well. Irish receivers, Tim Larson, 1 for 33. Javardo had 1 for 27 and a touchdown. Kyler had 1 for 24. Rushing, Tony Morelli for the Bucks, 14 for 73. John Roach, 6 for 51. Irish had a bunch. Tyler Shaver had a good game, 14 for 63. Marshall, 6 for 30. And there was another guy that had a big run. So good game overall. I think the Bucks maybe gave it away, but at the end of the day, I think we really put teams on notice with that game. And I think Airdrie will come out and be ready to improve. Anton's a great coach and a great guy, and so they'll be ready to prove. So overall, I think good week one.
Good week one, and I, as well as I know we're giving all the offensive stats. I'm just looking. I'm looking at the defensive tab here, and just seeing like you guys had the number one a lot player making the most tackles with 10. David Simmons.
Yeah. So David's a Sylvan Laker. Brand new to football last year, never played before, but it's just like a tank, just Energizer Bunny tank, constantly going, constantly wanting to be physical, always around the ball. People will notice him very quickly. He was at like just everywhere on the ball, and he wasn't even feeling that well. He was kind of feeling a little off in that game, but yeah, I think it was 5 solo, 10 assisted, 10 assisted tackles. And by the way, like, to explain, there's only one tackle that's given away per play. It's either 1 solo or 2 assisted. There's not like 8 assisted tackles. So it's basically like if there's a gang tackle, it's the first 2 that were in that are going to get those assisted, which is why it's important for film guys to zoom in so the stats guys can see that. But he was everywhere. To get 10 assisted tackles, is all that tells me is that this guy hustles to the ball, and he does, and he's a beast. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Seeing that, and then forced interceptions. Bragdon Egnar with 2, Quinton Morrow with 1.
That Brandon guy's a Grand Prairie guy, right?
Yeah. 2 from Grand Prairie, and then Gabriel Tinko with 1. I'll be keeping notes on that for the come up to this week.
Did Gabe get 1? Oh, Gabe got 1. Okay, yeah. No, yeah. Gabe's gonna be pumped about that. That's good.
Yeah, he's gonna be pumped about that. I gotta do what we can to limit that, and look at the knockdowns. This is now where the defense kicks in. Just looking at the knockdowns, the top 3 are all fighter jets for a total of 7. They had a total of 7 knockdowns between the 3 DBs.
Yeah, you know what? I want to know what people consider a knockdown. You know what I mean? Like, I do want to know that. Like, I actually hate the word knockdown. I think in the CFL they call it pass breakup instead of knockdown, like where you actually did something to stop the pass. Like if the ball sails over the receiver's head or the receiver drops it, that's not a knockdown. So I hope guys doing stats aren't like cheaping up their knockdowns. But yeah, I saw that. I think Teague had 3. Well, Teague having 3 actually makes sense because like if you're going against Teague and you catch the ball, he's basically going to be smashing you immediately. So there's a good chance that you might drop it because of his hit. So that one I actually do believe. But I don't know. Knockdowns are kind of weird sometimes.
Yeah, knockdowns there. And then the next 3 from that was the Irish backfield. They had told like next top 3. So I guess it's now top 6 with them taking 4, 5, 6. They had 3 guys: Sam Lowe, Jamal Backus, Cam Taylor with 2, all with 2. So very even play, and like, you know, very, very, very strong defensive secondaries there. The punt with a blocked punt with Teague there. So, you know, guys are balling over the place.
That one went for a touchdown too. They blocked that punt and went for a touchdown. And they had a big punt return by Desron Kerr too. That I don't think he scored, but he got him into scorers, and they scored after. There was some good numbers put up by guys, and that's good to see in week 1. It'll be really interesting this week having our full slate of games. So let's get into this week. Let's start with you guys, Amari. So you guys are heading up to the Jets. Talk about your team so far. What are you expecting in this game? How many are you traveling up with? And
we're definitely looking forward to this game here. We'll be busing up early tomorrow or early Saturday, just in case whenever this episode comes out. We're expected to go up with 30, which I believe is better than what we went up with for the playoffs last year. So we're definitely looking forward to that. And if schedules aligned a bit better. I know some of the newer guys just had prior commitments just being to the last minute. We'd be looking at with 35 plus, which I think really pushes us over to, contend very well. And one thing I'm really happy with the team that we have and have been building on a weekly basis is just a lot of new players coming in, young players, really have been able to help establish a new culture with them and drive that forward with them. And we got bodies everywhere, which is nice. And some guys will play both ways, but it's going to be. I'm looking forward to seeing some of these new players get their welcome to the AFL moment. like I asked you this with like who's going to feel that way where they can play at this level, and we definitely have a handful of players that have history, have a long time playing football as experience. Like one of the questions I always ask new players is, how long have you been playing football for? Are you new? Are you experienced? And I'm happy to say we've added some guys who have double-digit years of experience, which is nice being so young. So we're getting some guys who've been playing Adam all the way up and are continuing to play football. So it's exciting to see there and carry that football knowledge and continue to play here because they still have a love of the game, which I can always get behind, and I think this league can always get behind. I know Daryl's definitely excited to let it rip. I know he's been feeling good and feeling good on a coming off his injury from a couple of years ago. So that's something that I know he's excited to see, and our defense is ready to fly. For our vets, they've been reaching our prime. Our new players, what to expect coming to Cold Lake, because like we all know, they got some players that got some ballers there ready to compete and face adversity. I think that's gonna be the big thing here. Is some of these new guys is you're gonna face adversity here, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they respond. Lately, I've been player coach, helping these guys out and practice everything, but come game time, I have to flip the coach part off and just play because I got to worry about myself and fly around and make plays and blocks, this, that, whatever needs to happen. So I do feel very confident what's going up and the right mentality and keeping their heads focused in the right area, which I think is so important. So I feel pretty good with that.
Where are you? Are you going running back, slot, both? What are you doing this year?
At the moment, I'll give this. At the moment, I'm playing fullback, but it's fullback, which is what I played in the playoff game. But
yeah.
I've told Daryl to be sure to move me around because I'll do fullback for the team, but I feel more effective moving from place to place.
Yeah, and in Daryl's 2 running back always system.
Yeah.
But that's kind of nice. Like if he does want to go to trips at all or get into 32, like you can just bump out there and play that inside slot.
That's where I'll bump then. So, it's the one thing too. I know everyone likes to say Daryl is the same offense, and like I think when I look at the history, like the throwback videos, his cadence is the exact same and everything, which is what it is, and like it's I'm sure like Cold Lake's probably saying out they're going to see the 55 pass, this and that, like is what it is when Daryl calls it. But we've really been working on guys to get the chemistry with Daryl, and we feel confident with some chemistry that's happening and building up, and some of the guys we're bringing out. So I feel very confident in our guys' ability to compete and to showcase that this week.
Yeah, in Daryl's case in the offense, I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I learned, last year, it's like, and he told me, it's like, hey, look, this is the offense we run. It's simple, but I actually kind of like simple. I mean, at the end of the day, what is football, right? There are essentially 9 routes you can run with some like variations of those 9 routes. And you just run them over and over and over again, regardless of whether you're running 55-55 or 86-86 or 97-32. You know what I mean? You just can make stuff up, and that's kind of what football is. It's like we don't call them that. We have names for our plays, but like if we call, for example, and this isn't a play, I'm just going to look at this flower plant. So if we call ace right 22 flower, whatever that play call is, there's still routes that are being run. That could be 55-55, right? So he knows it, he sees it, he knows what to look for, right? He calls plays and he knows exactly what to look for. He makes the right decision a lot of the time, and he can still throw the football. So I'm excited. Our game starts a little later tomorrow. We're getting a nice 7:30 start, which I actually love, by the way. I love late night starts. Let's escape the heat as much as we can.
Mm-hmm.
But so I'm going to kind of have the game on the side a little bit while we're warming up to check how you guys are doing, because I'm definitely interested in that on the live stream.
Yeah, the Cold Lake, I think I've been collaborating with the team up in Cold Lake. They confirmed the stream for tomorrow. They got a guy there who's gonna be running everything, and nice thing I'll be going up too, so I'll be able to help troubleshoot if anything comes up. But everything looks to be in good shape. Hopefully, the Cowboys and Irish game gets streamed. I know one team will be in line to do that. Hopefully they'll make that work, and then I know I did reach out to actually both parties, Bucks and Edmonton. Hopefully one of you guys are able to put up a phone and stream the game. So ideally that's all there for everybody.
Yeah, that'd be great. And that's on the Alberta Football League YouTube channel. Easy to find. And so we're definitely, have you heard anything if the Irish game will be on there?
It depends on if Chad Weeb from Cowboys is able to find someone to hold the phone.
Okay.
Hold the phone or be able to be in the stands and do that. I guess maybe if I'll touch quickly on just a week one recap of the stream.
Yeah.
I know I posted like a recap in it just in the message board, but for those who aren't in that, it was a great stream to where it was the first one for the league. Where it was able to just showcase the capability of it and like prove that YouTube does work as a platform. It was great for fans, family, people who just found the stream on YouTube to come in and comment and talk about the league and all that. Like the chat was great. We did have an issue with it being vertical, and just so that I'll say it now so everyone knows, and as well those who are operating, the way it works is where you want to, before you even start the stream, because what happened was I think they started the stream and had it going, but YouTube has a secret setting where you need to have the phone horizontal even before you start. So for all those watching and anyone who's doing the stream, like you want to basically hold the YouTube app, and as you're getting into the live sections, hold the phone horizontal and start it horizontal, because YouTube will lock your phone for you for the entire time. So that was the thing we ran into, but we solved that already. And so just looking to see how it builds off on week 2. And I mean, we ended off with 700 total viewers.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, in total. And I think even with it now being done, the stream, people can go back and watch it. We average around, I believe it was 70 with highest 78 with an average of 50, 60, because then it was good. Dips for halftime, it comes back up. So it was good that way. So I think it's just that's great, man. And let's get more teams on board. Like let's, if you have to find someone every week, like it shouldn't be that hard, set them up in your booth, give them some free tickets to the game. They can bring family. Like there's so many ways, pay them $20, something like you can get a kid to do it. Like, I think it's just so good for the league. There's just nothing bad about it. It's just only positive. And then you get our brand out there, our league out there, our players out there, family and friends can tune in and watch it on their TVs. The beautiful thing about now is like you can get YouTube on your TV, so you can literally watch a full screen. You don't have to sit on your phone and you can watch a full screen YouTube channel, YouTube game, and it's just is great for everyone. So yeah, hopefully we get that figured out. I think I'm excited to see the Cold Lake Hawks. I know they mentioned they got some cameras, so I'm excited to see that. To the setup and everything, because I feel like that'd be a nice standard to set for moving forward and go from there. So
cool.
That'd be good.
Cool. Make sure you tell your DC to know where Cole Bridges is at all times, because that guy, he's looking dangerous.
Man, funny thing with Cole Bridges, like dude flies, and like I've watched. I remember like when I was doing the scouting report last year. See him make some plays previous game. And then I watched his junior tape, and, same thing. He flies away. He's got a great build where he just cuts through the air. Like the way he runs, like, those guys who can either like push through the air and like they're pushing themselves, or guys who just glide. He's definitely a glider.
Yeah.
He's smooth. And like one thing too about him, like he loves to get in the dirty work. Like he loves to get into the blocks. He'll sacrifice the body for plays. Like, I know there's been multiple plays where I think there's a play where, this is last year on the playoff, we tried to do an onside return, and it was either me or Vardo. I know he lit up Vardo, and I was like,
shit. Destroyed Vardo, yeah.
Yeah. And then
absolutely. He basically murdered Vardo. That was tough to watch.
Yeah. And then there's a punt, I think. I'm not sure it was before or after I look at the film, but I remember going on field. I made the tackle, but I remember the return was bouncing back, and I had to I need to cut off the angle. I see Cole, and I'm like, hey, like, I didn't think to light him up, but I just said I need to get out, and I think I ended up blowing Cole up. But it was just one of those things where like it wasn't like intentional, just football is football. But you gotta appreciate those guys who just get their hands dirty and
Yeah. No, he does. Blocks, he's a warrior. Yeah, he's a warrior out there. He'll play both ways for you if you need him to. So
yeah, so I'm looking forward to competing against him again.
Yeah, it'd be good. Okay, so quickly we'll touch on the other two games. Cowboys going to the Irish. I really am intrigued about this game. I think we've got kind of two, I would say, more classic football teams that want to run the ball, that want to play physical defense. I think the defenses here are very matched. I think both defenses are good with linebackers and people that floated the ball and hit hard, with some good speed in the secondary. I think the Irish have the advantage in the run game and the pass game. I think the weakest point of the Grand Prairie team is right now is their passing game. I don't believe they ran the ball too great either. Obviously, they couldn't put anything in the end zone. So I think the Irish are going to win this game just simply because the Cowboys, their offense is going to take some time to gel. I think they're going to travel probably lighter than they would be at home. So the Irish are a sound football team with a good coach in Anton, and they are going to be ready to go. Like last week, I think they admittedly maybe took the Bucks too easily. And now this week, I don't think they'll make the same thing. So I do think the Irish are going to win. I think they'll win 21-7, something like that. What are your thoughts on that game?
It'll be a good game. First of all, I think it depends on how. I'm hoping the Cowboys travel well. I think that's always something where teams will have two rosters. You have your home roster and your away roster. And, maybe university and junior is always set by coaches, but really in AFL is set by who can make the trip and who can go through attendance. So hoping that they can put together, a good group of guys to bust down 30 plus guys. And then now we got a game. If it's going to be under 20, under like 25, this is now where, more players that have Adrian being at home, I feel like just attrition will get to them, but 30 plus guys, 35 guys, maybe 40, we got a game here. And then I like to see it where I do think Irish are going to, be very physical with their run game. I think they're going to rely on that more because I know Marshall, I know Shaver, those guys, they run hard. And just I was looking at how they run the ball, they hit the holes well. So that consistent beat down of it, which will go. And the only thing maybe is if it's say like a, grind it down the field kind of run, or is it like pop off every play, that could change the pace of it. Because I know running the ball can take up more time, and all that. So I like to see maybe 28-14. I do think Grand Prairie is going to put some points on the board. They'll move the board, move the ball and everything there. And I know Irish, they're going to get up early because the other thing too with the run game too, like, man, just as I'm sure every D lineman is about to find out, when you think you have Josh Williams wrapped up, no, he's gonna bust out. Like he's so mobile and so what was I saying? He's the specimen.
Annoying.
He's a specimen. That man's gonna drop his arm workout here for the whole league because I think there was an interview he was doing it, and then there's a vein that's just popping out. I'm like, man, arm workout for everybody. But
we had him sacked on one, like clearly sacked by like three guys, and I stopped. I thought the play was over. All of a sudden, he squeaks out of there somehow, and he runs and scores a touchdown on their first drive. I was like, what fuck is happening here? Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm kind of I'm just always cheering for the Cowboys unless the Bucks are playing them, just because like I like the way that team plays. I like the way they battle. I don't know. There's just something about them, and they have better jerseys than the Irish. So, although hey, here's the thing. I like the all whites the Irish wore. The all whites the Irish wore against the Bucks. Those are nice jerseys. I like.
Oh those. Yeah, the all whites are clean.
I just think with their green, they should have gone like more like limey green than like the dark forest green. That's just I don't know. This is kind of my thought on it. But that should be a good game. I think the Irish win that game. I think the Cowboys defense shows up and makes it difficult for the Irish run game. I think the Irish pass game probably is a little better than they were against the Bucks. I think they need to throw the ball a little bit more. Only 12 throws in an entire game is probably not what they had planned, but I don't know, maybe it was. I think you got to throw the ball at least 20 times in a Canadian game. But I mean, they did win the game, so what am I to say, right? All right.
And it's
Go
something
ahead.
too where I'm just looking here now at all the carries that they had here. Like, just trying to, I'm just looking at the Excel sheet here. So without the, they're obviously more run heavy, like, which is for the stats. Taking out Josh's runs, they had 31 run plays. You put in Josh's runs or his scrambles, spin on the film, 36. So, 36-12, like very, very run heavy. So that's just something here now to where, as a DC, how do you coordinate that, go from there, actually make that 38, because I saw Vardo had two rushes there. So a very rush heavy team to where they want to put the ball in their guys' hands early and let their line go to work. So
Yeah.
Cowboys, if they come down and do a good job controlling the box, that changes the game, force them to throw, and the game can go however it wants.
Yeah. And is someone speeding outside your house right now?
Yeah, I live by McLeod Trail, and like dudes literally rip down it.
Oh my god, you hear that? Sound like you're watching a race car. Yeah, no, I agree. What I really liked about our game, the Bucks against the Irish, is we were 28 passes and 24 runs. So almost 50-50, which for us is pretty ideal. Like, we want to be able to run the football. We want to be able to be balanced so that we're not easily predictable. A couple of years ago with Brandon Lay, when the Bucks won the championship in 2021, we ran 94% of the time, essentially. Passed 94% of the time. We basically never ran the football. But we got away with it because, we had Brandon Lay, and then we had myself and Xavier and Ben Nadiak on the field.
And as well, a line that bought him, like, I swear to God, I think I counted like 10 seconds one time.
Oh yeah. No, we had a very good old line. So we didn't need to run the ball there. This year with the Bucks, we need to be able to run the ball because teams have to respect our run, and you have to. Like, if you don't respect our run, we're gonna rack those yards up because we've got the guys that can do it. So that's really good for us. Speaking about the Bucks going into the elite, so my current rankings after week 1, Jets are going to stay number 1. The elite and the Irish are going to change. I'm going to move the elite to 2 and the Irish to 3. The Bucks are going to go 4. The Pack are going to go 5. The Cowboys are going to go 6. The Bucks jump up over the Pack. Obviously, the Bucks outperformed what a lot of people thought, so they jump up. The Pack we'll see this week. But even though I have the elite ranked 2 and the Bucks ranked 4, I'm still going to pick the Bucks to win because I'm never going to pick against my team. So I do think the elite are going to be very good. I think right now the elite are better than the Irish, and that could change tomorrow. But what I've seen, you can hear my cat meowing in the background, I'm sure. What I've seen on the signings the elite have made, these are legit guys, legit players coming in. They're going to have a very good secondary. They're going to have, they got my guy, Zach Brooks down there playing linebacker. And I love the way Zach plays. He's a big, huge man who plays linebacker really well. And I think he's one of the better ones in the league. I actually show some of my kids his film work and the way that he drops to coverages and the way he reads things. So they got a good, I think Shaq Lawson's back there as well. Their D-line is going to be very good. Pierre's back there. And their secondary, I think, is going to be much better than they were last year. And their offense is going to be significantly better than they were last year. Mitchell Phillips is a game changer at quarterback. James Aldred at receiver, going to be very good. John Cott's down there. They signed a couple junior guys, Hennessy and some other guy from the States, Muir, I think, or Muir. So the elite are going to be very good. And the elite, I think are having championship or bust kind of aspirations, as they should. When you're a team in Edmonton and you have 1 million people to recruit from, you should be able to recruit and be one of the best, if not the best team every single year. I think they've probably done that this year. They've probably recruited better than they ever have. And they're going to be very good, and they're going to surprise a lot of people, I think, just because they haven't been as good as they probably should have been. And maybe people count him out, but I don't think many people right now in this league understand Mitchell Phillips and what he does at quarterback. I do. He played quarterback for Fort Mac, and he took a not very good Fort Mac team and was very competitive with them. So he's a game changer on there. He's going to be very big for them. The receivers are going to do a good job. They've signed some studs on defense. I'm still picking the Bucks to win because obviously that's just the case. So I'm going to go Bucks 24, Elite 20. Bucks 24, Elite 20. That's my pick. What do you got, Omari?
Of course, same kind of thing. I don't want to. I don't want to. I'm not picking against us. And how's it gonna go? So I think for Wolfpack and Cold Lake, hey, everything comes together. We get our bus ride right. We get that stop off in Edmonton right there right. We get a pregame right. Everything goes. We control what we can't control. I want to say it's going to be 30 to 25 pack.
30. Ooh, putting up big numbers. All right. In that game, I'm going to say the Jets at home are going to take it. I think their offense, if Calgary can put pressure on the quarterback and take away Cole Bridges and that other wide receiver they have, I think Calgary can compete against their offense. I think with Daryl Leeson, they can put. I mean, we proved last year. We went up there in the playoffs and popped 2 touchdowns on them. We still lost by whatever, but we scored on them. We moved the ball. So I think you're right. I think if you're traveling up with 30, I think your defense can hold them. I think Jets are still going to find a way to win with that run game and that defense. I'm going to say Jets 17, Pack 14. What's your Bucks Elite prediction?
Bucks Elite. I know. There's all the sign. I know the signs could come from Edmonton, and I am going to give it to the Bucks just because I've seen you guys play, and I'm just going off of. Haven't seen any film of Edmonton yet, so nice and next week we'll be able to make this more fair and see and just base off film and not trying to make it off egos. Just seeing how you guys came together and fought in the Irish game, similar kind of thing where I feel like Airdrie made a lot of good signings, Edmonton made a lot of good signings, and you guys still showed up and fought and made a fight. So I'm going to go with 25-20 to the Bucks.
Cool. And I didn't pay him to say that. He's free to have his own opinion on that. So.
I'm basing off the film. I've seen Bucks play. I haven't seen Edmonton play. So it's still unknown for me.
I think and the thing is, there's a couple advantages and disadvantages for each team, right? So the Edmonton obviously has a clear advantage. They have film on us. We do not have film on them. Clear advantage. Mm-hmm. The other clear advantage for us is we've played a game. That's an advantage. They have not. This is going to be their first game. So I think that kind of balances out. I think it's going to be a really good game. I think Edmonton is the second best team in the league right now, and tomorrow might change my mind on that. I do think we're going to find a way to win, but I'm not going to rank us above them right now just because of everything that they have. And I just want my guys to show up tomorrow understanding that we can compete against a team like Edmonton, who's full of all-stars, who's full of guys from the state. Look, on the Bucks right now, there's nobody from the States. There's nobody from out of province. There's a couple people that come from Edmonton, and I think 1 or 2 of the guys that come from Edmonton are actual starters. The other guys aren't starters, but they get in a little bit, but not like these guys that Edmonton's bringing in and Cold Lake's bringing in. So my message to my team is this: we are a truly local Alberta team. Our guys are from, we got 10 players from Sylvan Lake. We got a bunch from Stettler. We got players from Red Deer and Lacombe and Ponoka. We are truly a local football team. And that's what I love about my team. We are so different in that aspect from every other team. We have no out of province players. Everyone is living around us or a part of our community. So I hope it's a good game. I hope we give Edmonton a good game. I hope we come out on top. If we don't, I hope that it's the same as last week. I felt good leaving that game last week, even though we lost. I was proud of my team. I was proud of the effort. And I think we're going to be the team that grows the most this year. So, Omari, anything else before we head into week 1 for you, week 2 for everyone else?
Yeah. I think that's everything from me. It's everyone stay safe, have fun, get your pregame routines right. Whatever that means to you. I think for me, it's drinking a lot of coconut water.
Coconut water. Hell yeah.
Love that stuff. Get right because it's going to be a hot one. So hopefully everyone started their hydration process at some point. If you're starting now, you're probably too late. But you want to take care of yourself here. End of the day, hey, have fun. Let's do what we do. Let's fly around. I think one thing that I want to give props to the entire league is especially with some of the goals with the YouTube channel, this and that, and other things happening. Like we're all really doing a good job putting out a good product. and with that brings more opportunity. So just encourage everyone to, ball out, have fun, take care of yourself, and enjoy it, because we all get to wake up tomorrow and play football, which that's a blessing, and that's a huge blessing. Like, for the amount of athletes out there that played football either on their terms or not on their terms, and how it ended, we get to wake up and play the game we love, which you can't take away from anybody.
Yeah. Awesome, Omari. And thanks for everyone for listening. Good luck tomorrow. Travel safe tomorrow for those on the road. Play safe. Understand that even though we're going against each other, we are a brotherhood in the AFL. Let's not try to be out to injure people. Let's make sure we're playing hard, but we're playing respectful and understanding that dudes do have jobs to go to, which is obviously, I think most guys do that. And I just wanted to just point that out as we understand that we're all making the same sacrifices. We're all taking the same risks. So let's battle hard. Let's talk some shit a little bit, but let's respect each other while we're doing it. Good luck to all teams. Thank you for listening. We will be back hopefully a little bit earlier next week to recap this week, which is supposed to be, I would think, very good. Check out the YouTube channel for the live streams of the games. And Omari, send us off.
Yeah, you can check us out here on Spotify, Apple Music, Google Podcasts, anywhere you guys get your podcasts. Feel free to like, share, subscribe. That all helps in boosting us in the algorithm. It's something that we've grown. And this is the prime time now. We've talked a lot about this coming up, and we're in it right now. So let's all enjoy it and take it week by week. So that's it from me. Looking forward to seeing everyone here next week.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, everybody. Omari, travel safe. Good luck tomorrow. We'll chat soon.
You too as well. Take care.
All right, buddy.